Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of the CincyWoodPodcast and me popping my knuckles directly into the microphone because I'm an idiot. Okay, and on today's episode, explain yourself, man. Who are you? Tell me a little bit about you. What's up?
What's up, Cincy? Thank you for having me on. I am another Cincinnati native, but name is Dave Champ Moore. I am located now in Los Angeles. I am a writer, an actor, published author, book author. So just here, ready to have good conversation and an overall good day, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can hope for. I'm sure the weather and being in LA has got to
Yeah.
be fucking fantastic today, right?
It
Tell me it was a good
is,
day.
but man, it's been weird. It's like rainy. Well, not today, but this week has been pretty rainy. Where actually I'm surprised because the
What?
Cincinnati weather has been better than the Los Angeles weather so far of 2023. So who would have expected that to start off the year? But I guess every
Yeah,
year has
dude.
been kind of weird ever since.
Dude, I swear every year since 9/11's just been a simulation, I'm telling you.
It's a long
Every
time, yeah. No, but
every year,
I
nah,
agree.
dude.
A lot of it's
Every
a
year since just gets a little bit fucking weirder. We're in a simulation, man. It's going down. No. Um,
we're on an episode of Black Mirror.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. We're all in an episode of The Truman Show or some shit. Let me see if I can share my screen with you here. Do. Share this one with you. Okay, can you see the video here?
It is loading. It looks like. Yep, it's up.
Okay. Okay. So the first one that we're going to talk about is this lady stands toe to toe with this dude, smacks him with a bowling ball, and then decides that she wants to go bowling afterwards. And oh, dude, it's just so fantastic. This video literally just came out last night. Oh, let me turn the audio down just a little bit here. Come on, load up just a little bit here. Ah, okay. Give me 45 minutes to load the video, and eventually we'll get there. While that video is loading, though, um, tell me a little bit about some of the stuff that you wrote, man. What do you like to write?
So, man, I try to not have like, I guess I want to have a big range. So I've actually done two books so far, working on the third one, but the first one was a self-help book, just kind of explaining how to focus on your pros rather than your cons and seeing your glass as I like to say overflowing, not just half empty, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the second and I got this for you too, Cincy, to show
What
it.
you got?
This was the first. This was the first book
Oh,
right here.
damn.
So I got it on deck. The second one, man, was a children's book that I did. I had an illustrator from Africa actually do it for me, but it's called Alvin Travels America, and it was something I wanted to do. I know we just talked about Cincinnati, but once I moved out here, I realized how much more of the world there was to see. So I started traveling to other states and I wrote it for kids so they know that when the time comes that they're able to travel and kind of do that stuff too and learn more about America because a lot of adults might not know all the 50 states, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's a way that the youth and the adults can both learn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm terrified of airplanes because for some reason I've never been on one because I've been poor my whole life. Like I said, growing up in the sticks, we don't have very much access to airplanes around here unless they're randomly hauling in drugs in the middle of the night. We don't have access to airplanes around here, which that's a whole other story I'll have to get into at some point.
What what what's the furthest you've traveled out?
Um, I've been on a couple road trips to Illinois, but
Okay.
like Minnesota, like nowhere cool. I went to Michigan for weed. Like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, nothing cool. I'm actually my furthest trip that I'm going to be making. I'll be making my first airplane trip this year. Um, there's actually a group of comedians called. It sounds stupid saying it out loud every time that I say it. I'm gonna have to explain myself here. They call themselves the Legion of Skanks.
Okay.
What that is was literally they made a stupid name. One of their girlfriends was fighting with them while they were playing Guitar Hero, and said, "Why don't you just go hang out with your Legion of Skanks?" So they made that their Guitar Hero name, and then decided to make that their podcast name, and then since then that's just been their name. But it's three comedians, Big J Okerson, Louis J Gomez, and Dave Smith. That it's literally just a comedy podcast. They just bullshit, show some random videos, things like that. But they run a festival called Skank Fest every year that has all the biggest East Coast comedians that you could possibly think of are there for like that 3 day event. And Lewis was hosting a thing the other day and said, "Hey, if you can Twitch snipe me and kill me on Call of Duty, you get free Kingfest tickets." So I killed his bitch ass and got Kingfest tickets. So I'll be going to Las
Okay,
Vegas this year.
congratulations. Okay.
So that'll be fun.
That's a good place to travel.
It's a good place to
That's
go
a
to
good
start out with,
place.
I feel like. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome
So,
to the West Coast, man. You're gonna be good.
dude,
You'll be good.
it might taint me. I might have to like move out that way or something afterwards because man, Ohio's cool, but it's just so slow. Like I get why Afro Man lives out here, but at the same time it's so slow. Speaking of Afro Man, I've met him a couple times. The way I met him was that he broke down and one of his Cadillacs, I think it was the '04 coupe, whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember. Some '04, just everyday caddy. He keeps all the other ones at
Before
home in the garage.
45.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what it was, man. It was just a turd. It wasn't nothing special. But he broke down at my work's parking lot, and I was like, "Hey, man, I know you live somewhere out close to me. Why don't you just take my car and I'll come pick it up when I get off?" And he was like, "For real?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude. I don't care. Whatever. You're Afro Man. What are you gonna do? Steal my shit?" So I gave him my
I know who
car.
you are.
Yeah, I was like, "I know who you are. I know you live somewhere close to me. I'll find you. It's not that hard. You're Afro Man. What are you gonna do? Steal my '92 Accord?" Well, okay. Um, but so I gave him my car and sent him away, and I got his number, and then I called him a couple hours later when I got off, and he was like, "Cool, come through." And I went over and smoked a blunt with him and hung out for a little bit, and he showed me all of his cars. He still got the was it the '84 Coupe de Ville? He still got it. Um, he's got a couple Impalas. He's got a nice collection of rides for the fact that he's been
Yeah,
out of the game for as long. But
yeah. I
yeah,
haven't heard his name in a long time, man.
I
It's
know
been a long.
nobody really has. Dude, he got his house raided a couple weeks ago. Did you see about
No,
that?
I did not know.
Dude, he got his house raided for literally zero reason. Somebody called and said that he was housing extortion victims or something like that. And they fucking Adams County busted down his door and raided his house and they found like a vape pen and a joint. And that was it. And he wasn't even in town. So we got back and checked the footage and then put out an entire album about getting raided. So if you get bored, check out the album Lemon Pound Cake by fucking Afro Man because he put out a whole album about that shit, dude.
Afro Man put out another album.
Dude, he did
I'll have to
too.
put that on.
Dude, I gotta be honest, Lemon Pound Cake kind of slaps. Okay,
Okay,
so this
all right. It's been like 20, maybe 15. I won't say 20. It's been like 15 years, I think, since I've heard an Afro Man song or anything.
man, it's been a minute since he's even put anything out. Like he puts out stuff every now and then, but he don't really put out a whole lot.
Yeah.
He still does shows and shit. Like he still travels all the time. That motherfucker's still making a lot of money. I think he owns the rights to all of his own music. So I think he's making a lot of
Mm,
residuals off of it. I think that's where all his
yeah,
money is. Because I don't
that's
think he
smart.
signed to a label. I think he made his own label. But yeah, he did it the smart way.
That's
Yeah,
the way to do it.
yeah,
Be
he's
your own master. Be your own master.
exactly. That's exactly what he's doing, man. Everybody else is struggling right now, and he just went and bought himself a 2023 Escalade 600. I just detailed it as soon as he got it. Oh, fun fact, I detail all of his cars.
Yeah, I was just about to say you just nonchalantly threw that in
Yeah, I detail all of his cars every now and then. I don't, it's not every it, like it's every now and then. It's not all that often. For the most part, I think he just washes his own shit. But every now and then he'll be like, "Hey man, come through, hook me up." But um yeah, he's a super cool guy, super down to earth. Yeah, he just came out with a new album and there's a couple songs on it that are actually pretty good, I gotta say. Okay, let me see here. That popping up tells me that we have Okay, we got 10 minutes left of this meeting, so we'll go ahead and get through this video, and then we'll cut off the meeting, and I'll start a new one, and we'll be able to finish out. Um,
Okay.
let me see here. So this one is, oh, let me unmute her here. This is the video of the lady hitting the dude with a bowling ball. Man, it almost doesn't even need explanation. Bow.
Dude,
Wait, wait for it. Boom, strike.
dude,
Oh my God. And this poor dude's just laying on the ground.
you do not want to be the bowling ball dude. That's a meme.
Nah, look at that
He's
dude.
he's a
Look at
meme
him.
now, man.
He's leaking.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude's like
man.
he's leaking. Okay, now to let me see here. So what made you want to move out of Ohio? I don't remember if we got into that or not.
Uh man, just kind of like what I was stating with my children's book. I just knew there was something else for me to see. I went to college up in kind of, I would just say, the Cleveland area for the listeners, but once I did that, got out of Cincinnati, I kind of realized, oh man, like there's a lot more people I'm meeting. It's more diverse. You're just kind of learning about different things. And so LA was for the film originally. And like I'm
Mhm.
still doing that out here, but then you learn about the culture shock, man. There's every race, there's every age, there's everything here. I date actually a Latina, and I'm learning the culture of that. And I went to a Christmas party and learned that they celebrate on the 24th, and
Oh,
like stuff like that.
okay.
And it's a good time. Yeah, yeah, it's cool, man, because you're able to explore that and find out more about you and what you like. And like I even listen to a lot of Spanish music now, so that's something that I kind of really value and take with me living out here that I didn't experience in Ohio. Because I mean, it's maybe a little bit more diverse now, but growing up, it was black, white, and mixed people that were black and white,
Yeah, the
and
most
I
ethnic
just
person
didn't
around
see
here
that. So
owns the gas station. The most ethnic dude around this motherfucker owns the gas
there you
station.
go.
I mean, he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong.
There
Like,
you
there's nothing
go.
wrong with him. He's a nice guy. But yeah, there ain't. It's literally like I said. I believe if don't get me wrong. Katie says that I'm wrong all the time, but I swear she's full of shit. There are one. My town's like 1,400 people, so it's not a big town as it is. Of that 1,400 people, I'm gonna say 300 of them are probably Latino, Mexican, mostly Mexican, like don't speak Spanish or don't speak English, speak Spanish. Some of them illegal
Hmm.
immigrants, but not really. I mean, some of them are, but for the most part, they're documented. But we still get ours up here too. But
Sure,
whatever, I ain't got no complaints about it. They're cool people. Um, and there's literally, I think, 7 black people that live in this whole town, dude. And I mean,
believe you.
it's weird because I get like growing up, all my best friends were black. I've always, even playing Xbox and everything else, I've always just migrated towards that culture and towards that the fun that everybody has and the lightness that everybody has to them. And white people are just fucking
Mm.
uptight as shit, dude. White people are uptight, man. It's
Depends on
weird.
who you're around.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it
It
definitely
depends,
depends.
but yeah, black people, man, we like to have fun, man. We like to enjoy life, man. You know what I mean? It's just that's like what I was saying. Just I'm learning about different cultures and
Yeah,
even my own. I'm learning
yeah,
more
and
about
that's
that and
cool.
being around more of my people out here, and it's a big bonus, man. With just I'll say traveling, not just living, but like you can go anywhere in America and learn more about your
Yeah,
own background, your own culture, and others. So
it's cool that there's so many different ones in that small of an area though, so you can go to a couple different blocks down and be in a whole different place and be experiencing a whole
hmm
different culture. That's super cool. See, that's not really something that we get around
yeah,
here at all. If I drive 15 minutes out in any direction, I'm still in the same county. Not, it's nothing. Actually, I can't really
Yeah,
drive. Currently I can't really leave the state because I'm on probation, but that's a whole different thing.
yeah, you're gonna see the same stuff for a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same sheep, the same cows. There's a lot of cows around this motherfucker, dude. I'm telling you, it is
There you
like
go.
when
That,
I say you hear banjos after you pass Mount Orb, I'm not kidding. It's literally just nothing. It's nothing but fields
you,
and shit. There ain't nothing, dude. Um, so did you write? So when did you move to LA in the process of writing the books? Did you write the books first and then move out there? How was that in the process?
man. So, and I know that you're learning how to, well, not learning, but you're writing too. So maybe this will help you, maybe a little benefit to anybody listening that's a writer. I wrote the book 3 years before I moved to California. I revised and changed a lot to the book after I had been in LA for a couple months. Because it was like sometimes we take a hiatus for, you know how it is nowadays, man. Your
Hmm.
mental health, your lifestyle, got to take a break. I needed life to happen. I didn't realize so much was happening and I was missing. So I really did kind of like leave the book alone. I had the chapters, it was ready to be published. And then, say, if I'm talking about a chapter with moving, I talked about going from, Cincinnati to the Cleveland area. Then I'm like, hold on, I got a lot more I can add now. I went from Ohio to California.
Hmm.
And so it's like
Yeah.
life happened. I got this, and I had to pick stuff up, move physically, and it was one of those things where the book came out when it needed to, and that was after the transition to here. And it's okay if you take time to like stop from something to regain yourself and learn more and then publish or let something out. That's totally cool because you have to. It's a process. It's part of the process with it.
See, that actually does help me a lot because I'm very much in that process right now of I'm starting to write. I'm just figuring out, what I want to write about and figuring out how to go about it in the most tasteful of ways because I don't want it to be a journal. I want it to be something that is tangible that I can actually, if somebody says, "Hey, how are you feeling at this day on this time?" I can be like, "Man, it was a pretty good day." But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I don't want to write something completely about my life. I want it to be so I want to do a couple different things. I think at some point, once I've actually established myself a little bit and done a little bit more, something about me would be cool to write. But right now, I just don't have enough that I feel is worth writing about. I've got enough experience, but not enough of it is worth, like, I'm nobody worth reading about yet. So I want to wait until I get to a point that I'm worth reading about to put that out there.
Let me stop you real quick on that. All
Uh,
right, because
what?
this is part of the book, and you'll like this. So with the book, you're right. I didn't just make it about my life, even though it's a self help. I asked other people who might have gone through like other people who moved. Hey, how were you feeling? What was your transition like? What did you experience? And so I interviewed like 4 or 5 people. That way, you get 4 or 5 different points of views. Now, the part where you're saying you were like, I don't know if I have anything, I want to have more of a status before I'm, publishing something. I know why you say that, but man, that ain't true. Because
No.
what you might have done already, and that I could learn from right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the highest status in the world, like I do stuff here and there, but there could be a chapter that you relate to in my book, and then something from your story, even if it's in Ohio or wherever. I'm like, you know what, Cincy, I remember that, or you know what, that's how you got through that. That's how you managed. So all of our stories, man, they're there. It's just like we think that about ourselves until we have somebody else that we see going through it, and then we can help pull them out of that mud spot and be like, hey man, let's get you back on track. So you do have something there, man. It's
I get that. There we go. Okay. And yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Um I Yeah, I think I do need to start writing it down and at least get a list written down of the things that I have done and the things, the insights that I do have. And then once I get to a further point, I can revise that, like you said, and I can go back through and be like, okay, so this is actually I've actually got a little bit more than I could add here, a little bit more than I could add there. Shouldn't have done that. That was fucking stupid. Things like that. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, and I've got a little bit like. I was the second person in the world to dismantle a C8 Corvette when they came out because the place that I worked for, I was a dismantler for, and when GM's cars get damaged. Oh, hold on, we got a ricer in the background here. Hold on, they might be doing a sweet burnout. Um, and it's all the time. If it ain't a tractor or a train, it's a dude in a Civic with no exhaust. It does not end. It's crazy. Um, And I say that as a
Here.
dude. I say that as a dude with an Accord with no exhaust. So I mean, I'm talking my own shit right now, but smelling my own shit. Um, but yeah, when Chevrolet, when GM as a company, if a car gets damaged in transport or in the building process, they consider that car a safety hazard. So they will not, even if it gets a broken window or a ding in the door, they will not replace that door. They will not replace that window. They write off that whole car. So they would write off. Oop, give me just a second here. Doo-doo-doo. They would write off a couple hundred cars at a time. They don't do it as much now, but at the time, like when the Chevy Traxxas first came out, they were having some kind of recalls on them or something. So they recalled a couple thousand of them, and they sent us a couple hundred of them. When the tornado hit the Louisville plant and fucked up all the Corvettes, every Corvette that was in production, whether it was all the way finished or it was just starting production, every single one of those 106 Corvettes came to us first. And then we decided from there what to do with them and where to send them. They wound up sending off a bunch of them. I think they wound up sending off 40 or 50 of them to other yards and whatnot. But that being said, my brother-in-law was the first person, and he took apart one, and then the second one came to me, and I took that bitch all the way apart and cut it in half because part of their deal is that the car can't be sold as a whole anymore. It can only be sold as a half because they don't want somebody to be able to put the two pieces back together and make a whole car out of it. So I,
Hmm.
unfortunately, very fortunately, because it was cool, but unfortunately, I got to murder a Corvette. I had to murder a Corvette, one of the first Corvettes.
Mm,
And one of the cool things about it was that
man,
when I checked the VIN, the last four on the VIN was the last four of my social also. And I was like, oh, well, that was kind of meant to be. That's kind of cool. So, but
that's a good way of looking at it, though.
yeah, I was
It
like,
was
oh, that's
almost
kind of
like you
cool.
just tore your
It was,
Corvette up.
yeah, I just tore
You
my
just tore
Corvette
your
apart.
Corvette up. That's all. Yours.
Ah, dude, I just built a sim rig in my living room, and you know how cool it'd be to get that front half of a Corvette to put in my fucking living room to make a sim rig out of? Ooh. Um, back to what we were saying though. Yeah, I'll definitely have to start writing down some of my experiences such as that and get them laid out and then go from there and revise. That'll definitely be something
Hmm.
I'll have to look into
Yeah.
because that's that's the biggest part of my writing block right now is that every time that I go to write something down, I only write in like small blurbs at a time. So there's always so it's all these, half pages, but at some point I need to go through all those half pages and put them all together. So it's
Yeah.
it's in the process. It's just not very far in the process currently. It's
You're,
all
you know what, man? You can walk a mile, you can jog a mile, or you can sprint a mile, and obviously you're going to get there at a different pace, but you're still going to complete the mile. So right now you're walking. That's all. That's
and
all.
that's been the going theme with everybody that I've talked to so far is that very positive outlook of um that regardless of how you're getting there, you're still getting there. I actually just had the
Mm-hmm.
conversation when I was talking to Jonathan earlier. I spoke to a hypnotherapist named Jonathan, and he was saying the same thing. It's all about making progress. So it doesn't matter if you're making a little bit of progress a day, because even that little bit of progress a day, you're going to look back in a month and think, damn, I've made it a mile. Like you said, yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely makes a major difference. And if you're willing to put in the work, whatever you're willing to put in that work on, you'll get very far doing it. Even if it's just a little
Mm.
bit at a time, it's still definitely worth putting in the work on.
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
Let me see here. Let me see what else I got here on the topics list. Do do do. Um, okay, the other one, I've got to see if I can find her here while we talk. This one is a pizza guy that saved an entire family from a burning building. I think I found this one on Reddit. Um, this video just came out. Oh, they actually just came out with a GoFundMe for him as well. Oh, this is an old video. I thought this was a new video. However, still a video worth sharing because
Or
it just came across my stuff and it is fantastic.
yeah.
Do 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 do. Oh, that's Inside Edition. That's not going to work. Okay. Regardless, I'll just read you the story and I will see if I can find the video. This dude was a just a regular pizza delivery guy, nothing special. He got in an argument with his girlfriend and decided to go on a drive to clear his head. So he goes on a drive in bumfuck Indiana somewhere, and then during his drive comes across the house that's on fire, and fire trucks hadn't even shown up or anything yet. There was nobody there, just the house on fire, but he didn't see anybody outside. So he ran inside, and I believe he got the parents out first, and all of the kids, and there were parents and three kids. I'll have to look it up to be sure. But he ran in, saved all of them, got them out, and then they said, hey, there's one more in there. So he ran back in, and it was already completely engulfed, and he ran through the smoke and went by just hearing the kid cry, saved the kid, jumped through a second-story window, and jumped out and saved the kid. Let me see here.
I believe they call that Superman in the flesh.
Absolutely. Let me see here. They did get a GoFundMe started for him, so he did have a GoFundMe to pay for his medical bills. I'll have to check and see if that's still up and see if it can still be donated to, because I mean, I know that you're still going to have permanent lung problems running to a fire. So
Hmm.
it's definitely something that those medical bills aren't going to go away on. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that dude is absolutely killing it,
Yeah.
man. Like
Noble. Yeah. It's I know we kind of discussed this earlier, but it's cool because like man, people people can suck. We we know this. People suck. And so when you hear a story like that, and it's like in the moment of stuff, we're like, we all want to be a hero at the end of the day. I feel like we all want to have something good that we can kind of do and show for it. And like to just have a natural reaction and just do that and say, F it, I'm going in, I'm doing this myself and save somebody and knowing that you're going to, have the consequences of it.
exactly
That's just,
knowing that there's not that who knows what's going to happen next, but just having that instant thought process of, hey, I've got to do this, even though you're in such a bad spot, is such a oh,
mm-hmm.
excuse me, it's such an inspiring thing to see. Like, especially, I'm going to be honest, especially as somebody that was literally a pizza delivery guy 2 days ago until I took my shirt off at work, threw it on the floor, and quit my job. Uh, it even tickled my cold dead heart a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
let's jump into it and see if it'll play the whole way here.
Wow.
House is fully engulfed.
Yeah. My man literally just walked out like he was Superman. Like
Dude,
he
I'm gonna choke out again. I'm gonna
had a
choke up again watching it.
flamethrower.
Yeah, yeah, that dude deserves people like that don't deserve to ever have to worry about anything, man. Like that dude's obviously a very good dude.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I'll go ahead and scroll down here. He was 25 years old. Um,
Oh,
saved the lives of five kids. Five kids and suffering serious injuries of his own. Obviously, he ran into a house that was fully engulfed. Um, made his way upstairs, heard a child crying, grabbed the kid upstairs and jumped through the second story window and landed on his side so that the child was protected from the impact. And let's see here. Gravely cut his right arm, flown to a hospital where he was treated. Let's see if this GoFundMe still goes somewhere real quick. Because that'd be awesome if he had. I hope it. Wow. It is still going. Wow, look at that.
what does
Somebody
that
just
say
done.
originally? Hundred
Original was
thousand.
a hundred thousand. He's got $634,000 in donations. Dude, even if we can get that up a little bit, that would be fantastic. Because that dude deserves it. Like 600 grand isn't nearly enough. Like,
Mm,
man, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be a little bit controversial because it's very it's very situational. The dudes around me that become cops don't become cops to help people. They become cops because it's a job and it gives them something to do. And they were mostly dicks in high school and it gives them people to beat up on. The dudes that I see become firefighters and EMTs and paramedics are all the nicest people that all they care about is killing themselves so that they can save somebody else's life. Like,
mm,
don't get me wrong, there are definitely good cops out there. I've definitely met good cops. There's nothing like I'm not against cops at all, but a lot of cops you see become cops just to have a job. It's obviously way easier to become a cop than it is a paramedic for a reason, because if
mm.
but you don't see that very much in that medical field because those people actually want to help people, and man, that's always fantastic to see.
Yeah,
Because
man. That's sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I was just going to say this dude doesn't deserve to have to worry about anything for the rest of his life. As far as I'm concerned, that dude he earned his keep. And as soon as I get some money, I'll donate to it as well because he shouldn't have to worry about nothing.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean the fact that it's six times more than what was originally put down on the GoFundMe is like back to what I was saying. People are they're actually good people because that's that and shout out to you too. You were saying you're about to donate. Like it's kindness is the only way to like kindness and love is the only way to like heal anything. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner that things will make more sense. I'll say, but that's cool,
yeah,
man. That
yeah.
guy's like,
It doesn't have to be hateful. It not just because you had a shitty day doesn't mean you have to turn your shitty day into somebody else's shitty day, man. Like you can always, if you stand back for a second, you don't necessarily have to go through a full meditation, but if you just sit and talk to yourself for a second and calm down your breathing and you think, hey, I'm kind of having a shitty day. I need to not be taking this out on everybody all the time. It does a lot more than you realize for
mm-hmm,
how you go through your interactions after that. Because after that, every interaction that you have, you're going to be like, oh, well, okay, I'm definitely understanding that I'm coming through this a little bit rude. I don't want to do that at all. It's not
yeah,
their fault I'm having a bad day. So I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's it once you realize that you don't have to go everything through everything so angry that it's okay to look at things a little bit lighter. I feel like it just makes things a lot easier on you and it makes things a lot easier to build progress from because it actually gives you a base to build the progress off to
yeah,
rather than always tearing it back down. And I mean,
Hmm.
I
No, I agree
obviously
with
don't
you,
know
man.
anything. I obviously don't know anything. I'm just a moron that doesn't deliver pizzas anymore. But from the life experiences that I've
You
gained,
got
that's what
you
I've
got
seen
to.
so far.
Yeah.
Let me
Nah,
see.
dude, empathy. Yeah.
Oh, go on. I'm listening.
No, no, no.
Empathy.
I
That's the
was
word
like,
for it.
yeah, yeah. Empathy. It's
That's the
just
word for
the
it.
minute that there. Yeah, that's. It's like what we said. If you are just empathetic, obviously there's sympathy and empathy, and when you show empathy toward people, it's not even that you have to truly understand what they're going through. It's that you just need to connect with them on what they're going through. So
Exactly.
once we show that empathy, yeah,
Exactly. Everybody wants somebody to reach out to and somebody to reach out to them. It's just a matter of you've got to let down that wall a little bit to be able to talk to people, to be able to have that conversation. Because not
mm,
all conversations are going to be the best conversations, but sometimes it's a conversation that still needs to be had.
yeah,
Like
agreed.
even like my dad currently hates me, and because I smoke weed, he thinks that he literally treats me like I'm on heroin. Um, for absolutely no reason. I've got a medical marijuana card. Like it's it's not like it's not like I'm just a total burnout and pothead. I'm a pretty I'm not gonna say pretty successful person, but I'm doing things. I'm moving. But the way that he sees it is just that I'm a nobody and that I'm just what were his exact last words? Let me see here. I can reread them from my mind. You'll always be a little piece of shit just like your mom and stepdad. All the rest of my kids are great because they respect me. Go ask any of the rest of them and see what they really think. They're all embarrassed of you and waiting to watch you fail. All you do is smoke dope every day. Shit, that's all I can remember at this right now. But it was a
It's a
pretty good
very
one.
detailed
It
memory.
is it was a
It's a
pretty
very
good one.
detailed memory you
Oh,
have there.
I've read that text so many fucking times, I can't even tell you.
I
That
was
one
about to
bit
say it sounds
that one
like
bit a little bit. Yeah, that one hurt a little bit. Like it's now I've kind of like we've talked since and everything and whatnot. We still haven't got to the point where we talk, but yeah, that one was
yeah,
that was not a fun text to get, especially while going through the court process. Um, that's a whole other story right there. But I basically got mad and broke a window. And then throughout the court process, my dad kept texting me and would be like, "Hey, you're in a bunch of trouble. Hey, you're in a bunch of trouble. Hey, man, you better get a real good lawyer. They're gonna send your ass to prison." I was like, dude, I got mad and broke a window. And I called the cops and wrote the report on myself. Like, I obviously am going to plead guilty. And he was like, you better get a good lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, if you're just going to text me shit like this all day, you just got to stop texting me, man. I just don't need it right now. I've got other stuff. I'm going through it. I just don't need it. And he was like, and that his literal next text was, you're a little piece of shit, just like your mom and stepdad. And I was like, well, okay then, dad. Thanks. Thanks, dog. That was helpful. Um,
well, good luck. Well, good luck with all that, man.
It
You
is what
sound
it
like
is.
you're making light of it.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. I mean, everybody sees things their own way. He sees it the old way that because I smoke marijuana, he sees it that he honestly sees it as being the same as heroin. He does not see a difference in it. Like it took my mom a long time to see the difference between weed and heroin. Because as I speak, my sister is on heroin and refuses to talk to anybody, refuses to get help for it or anything. But it took mom a very long time of me smoking weed for her to finally put two and two together that I smoke weed, but I'm still holding my life together while sis, I mean, she's rough. She's fucking rough. One of her baby daddies OD'd. One of them, I don't know what the fuck happened, but he left her. Currently, she's living with another drug addict down, I want to say Portsmouth or something like that. But she ain't doing so hot, man. But it took mom a long time to realize that there's a difference between that and weed. So that's been kind of fun. Okay, one last thing I want to jump into here, and then I think we should be probably about out of time because it has not popped up yet, but I'm sure it's going to any minute now. Um, one last thing that I wanted to get into here is Andrew Tate. He used to be a kickboxer. Currently, he is in jail. But man, you've got to if you're if you're into comedy podcasts at all, I recommend you look up Your Mom's House podcast. Two comedians, Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky. They run it. They're a wife and husband couple. Tom's a hilarious comedian. He's also from Ohio. I think he's from Cincinnati. And
Okay.
uh a hilarious podcast, giant podcast, obviously. They don't need me to plug them. Hopefully me plugging them gets me a plug because they're dope. But um they have been covering him pretty much since like I don't know 2010 when they first started when he first kind of came out on the scene. This dude is a grade A fucking nutball, dude. I don't even have words to describe it. Like he started out as a kickboxer. He's man, he's one of the guys that if you go and watch any of his videos, because I think he's still got videos up on YouTube and whatnot, all of his videos are the alpha male. And I'm not even saying this to drag him. This is all like if you go look it up, this is literally what his videos are. I would bring one up,
But
but I
you
don't want to
see
get
that.
I don't want to get copyright striked for it. Um, but all of his videos are the very masculine, macho, unruly side of the male energy. You know what I mean? They're not
Alpha, big alpha energy, as
big
they
alpha
call it.
energy. Yeah, exactly. And like none of it was even stuff that worked in being big alpha energy. It was all just him being a dick ball. You know what I mean? Like he
Mm.
was he was just being a whole ball of dicks the whole time. There was nothing really to it. There was no substance to it. It was just him telling kids and young adults to be a horrible person because it'll get you chicks, basically, was what he was doing. Like he's a what was he? He called himself like a self-help dude. He called himself
Mm.
all of those things, but was not obviously any of those things. Life coach. That was the word that I was looking for. Called himself a life coach and all these things. Um, he let's see here. He just got arrested the other day because after all this shit that he's been talking, he actually talked shit to Greta Thunberg the other day or whatever the hell her name is and was like, "Hey, I've got 33 cars and this many houses and this much shit." And then literally the next day, this dude goes to Romania and gets arrested. And he got arrested. Let's see here. Along with two women, and all four were charged with human trafficking and forming an organized crime group. Those are crimes that if you listen to any of his videos, he's admitted to multiple times that does he does that. Like he has created this whole thing, a whole organized thing of human trafficking. But the whole time he's been like a life coach and he's been like, "Hey, no, it's all good. Just be an alpha male. Everything will be fine." And I just find it hilarious and I had to bring it up that fuck that guy.
Hey, what's done in the dark is gonna come to the light. That's what I've
Dude,
always been told.
it always comes up. Let's see. Bans. Three of his Twitter accounts have been banned. Do 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 do. One of them got permanently banned. Um, Basically everything that he does to himself. But he was a really good kickboxer, so there's that. But I think getting kicked in the head so many times might have kind of fucked him up because dude's kind of a ball sack now. He's like I said,
I
I very much encourage you to look him up because he is a whole fun level of asshole, man. He's just like
I know the name, man, and I think I might have heard it because he retire like maybe 5 years ago or something from the kickboxing.
let me see here. He retired. Oh shit, he kickboxed a couple. Let's see. Looks like he retired in 2016, but then came back for a couple fights in 2020.
Okay, then maybe that's why I heard him back in 2020 because
Yeah,
I remember him
yeah,
retiring.
he retired after a fight, after a win in 2020.
Okay, so
Yeah.
did the
Yeah,
whole
so
the did the
lot of wins. He was a fantastic kickboxer, don't get me wrong, but he turned all that energy from winning the kickboxing into a very negative male energy, and man, it's coming back to bite him in the
Yeah,
ass hard now. That did not work out very
I was
well.
gonna I was gonna say, yeah, I know him for the kickboxing, a few of those. Because when I heard the name Andrew Tate, I'll be honest, I was thinking like there's an old football player. I think his name was like Golden Tate, and that's what I was thinking. Like, is that who they're talking about? I was like, I haven't heard his name in a long time, but dude, yeah, if he's doing that and he's talking like that, I guess the writing was on the walls all along. Like you
It
said, if
was,
the energy was speaking that loudly,
like I said,
then
like I
then
said,
it
you don't
was
even have to
probably
look him
always
up.
there.
Yeah, like I said, you don't even have to look him up. Just look up your mom's house because they've got a whole list of all the shit that he's done basically. And they go through it because they're a comedy podcast, obviously. So they're making fun of him.
Hmm.
They're not serious about any of it, but he's been a grade A ball sack, dude. It's pretty awesome. It's
Man,
it's man, it's like a real life villain. It's like a cartoon come to life. It's weird. Um Last thing I wanted to get into before I let you go, man, is so the Bengals. So you are a Bengals fan. How long have you been a Bengals fan? Forever?
man, I'll tell you a funny story. All right, don't hate me.
Hopefully it's not
Grew up
forever
loving the
because
Bengals.
they
Yeah,
sucked
no,
for a
it's
while,
quick.
but
It'll be quick. No, yeah, no, dude, I loved them. They drafted Carson Palmer. I love Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer got hurt, and they were never the same. I
no. Yep.
transitioned and loved. I loved Ed Reed and Ray Lewis for defense. That's what got me into football. So I became a little bit of a Baltimore Ravens fan, and I know they're in the same division, but yeah, but no, dude, I still love the Bengals, dude. I went to that game that was against the Bills, which was unfortunate as far as Damar Hamlin.
Oh, you
But
were at
yeah,
that game?
I'll say
Wow.
Who Dey Nation, man. Yeah, we
Oh man, that's
we were
unfortunate.
sorry. Man, but I think what the beautiful thing was about that happening, which it's hard to see, like I said, seeing the glass half full rather than half empty, but a lot of people were praying for this dude and kind of uniting. If you were a Bengals fan, a Bills fan, if you were not a football fan and whatnot,
Hmm.
and that was incredible. And to come back to LA where people are talking about Cincinnati and the media as like, wow, they stood with the fans and they did it made me proud of where I come from, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I know it's just the sport, but that's the power that sports can play in our life. Anything can, but like just seeing that on the TV and it's not something that's negative toward
but
my city,
more than
that's a win,
expected.
man.
Exactly. More than expected. There's been a whole lot of love, like across the entire football community. And
Mm,
that comes from somebody I like football, but I'm really not that into football. But I see it even from the outside, man. I have seen nothing negative from either side. Nobody's been trying to call for anybody to get thrown out of the NFL because it was an unfortunate hit, but it was a clean hit. It was just an unfortunate timing for
mm-hmm.
a cardiac arrest. I mean, all
Yeah,
around, it was just an accidental, shitty situation. Could have happened at any point to anybody. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was a heart-stopping hit. It just happened. But the fact
yeah,
that there has been so much love because of it, and exactly nobody on any side has had any negativity to say. It's all just been love and prayers and hoping that he gets better and donating to the cause. Everybody's been
dude,
fantastic
yeah,
about it, which is crazy to see
yeah,
in our post-COVID world.
yeah, no, exactly. And I'm not saying that's going to be the end all be all to bring back world peace,
No.
but it gives you that hope, man.
Hmm.
It really does. And like my girlfriend I was talking about earlier, she's not into football, but she was even texting me every day, like, oh, I heard that, he's breathing on his own now.
Hmm.
And doesn't even need to say his name, just saying, I heard he's breathing on his own. Oh, I heard he asked who won the game. I got friends that are texting me across the country saying like, oh man, like we heard about the Bengals game and this is incredible that it happened at, UC Health is helping him get back to health. And I'm like, this is worldwide, man. And it's just showing the impact. It's showing the impact.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's fantastic to see so much love coming from everybody from all angles. And like you said, it's not gonna solve all the problems in the world, but it's nice to see that at least a little bit of something positive can come from something so negative in such a dark world, that instead of anybody being negative about it, everybody has been nothing but positive and hoping that he gets better. Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
I'm not even really into football, but I've been looking up the updates every day and telling my wife about them, and she's been telling me about them and whatnot, because it's a very heartbreaking but then heartwarming story to follow, because it was a horrible thing to happen to him, but now to see that he's past the scary part and going back into the road to recovery, and that he's going to be okay, is just a fantastic thing to see.
Yeah. It really is, man.
Yeah,
It really is.
especially with how it happened and everything. It was scary. Like it was terrifying the way that everything happened. He very easily couldn't have came back, but he's a strong dude.
Yeah.
He's a bad
Nah,
dude
dude,
for sure.
it was the second day of the new year. And that's what's crazy is that was a scary start, but now like you said, the fact that the road to recovery has been going well for him and he's breathing on his own, it just shows you, okay, we're not going to start this year off so crazy after all. There's some positivity right next week or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's been good, man. Yeah.
The only other negative thing that I can think of that's happened so far this year is, are you a fan of racing or cars at all?
Are you saying like NASCAR or what
Not really
exactly?
NASCAR, but just cars in general. You know who Ken Block is?
I don't know.
Ken Block is the founder of Hoonicorn. Donut Media. They've got a giant YouTube channel.
Mm-mm.
Hoonicorn. They've done a lot of stuff with Ford. He's done a lot of stuff with Subaru and a lot of stuff with Ford over the years. He crashed a snowmobile and died on I think either December 30th or January 1st. I think it was December 30th.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, he literally, man, his last video on his Instagram was a video of him on a snowmobile, and it said, "Man, it's getting deep out here," or something like that. And he was talking about this, and he was talking about, it, how it looked on the hills that he was riding. And then a couple hours later, the news broke that he had crashed and died, and it was just absolutely terrible. Yeah, if you're into
Yeah.
cars or anything at all, I highly recommend looking him up, because he was a legend, an absolute legend.
See,
His
the only thing I know was of similar was the Jeremy Renner situation I had heard about with like the
Yeah,
snow. Yeah,
like,
and
man, I can put it up there with when, like, Paul Walker died. Like, the shock that did to everybody in the whole scene, it did that to everybody. Like, I'm kind of a wuss and I cry about dumb shit all the time anyway, but that was another thing that had me tearing up, because it happened and I was like, damn, dude, not a good way to start the year. Not a good way to start the year.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it happens.
hmm
Not everything can be mapped out and expected to be perfect, especially if you're doing extreme sports. You're doing extreme sports knowing that you're taking on that risk. That's part of the fun of the extreme
yeah,
sports. So, I mean, it's a
that's
it's a
true.
very unfortunate loss, but he died doing what he loved. He was being a bad motherfucker, and that's all that matters. Same as Mr. Hamlin. He's gonna make it, but he went out as hard as he could, and he was a bad motherfucker the whole time.
Yeah,
And he came back, and
the
he'll be,
dude was balling.
yeah, whether he sticks with it or whether he retires now, whether he's like, dude, fuck that, I died, I'm done. Either way,
Hmm
he's gonna do something great with his life. Especially if you go through
you
something like that, there's no way not to.
Speaking of like the GoFundMe earlier from the guy with the fire, I don't know
Mhm.
if you've kept up with Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe, but it was like I think he was asking for like 2,500 for his toy drive.
I saw
And
that he
when
was
all
asking
this
for
happened,
something.
dude, I think he's at like 6 million now. Can you imagine this man now knowing, like, before all this happened, he was at like 2,500 is what he was asking for the toy drive or something, and now it's millions. Like, not
It's
just
over eight
one, not
million
just
dollars.
two. It's at eight now.
$8 million. Yeah,
That is incredible.
yeah. So
People can still be incredible.
not only did you reach out and touch that many people with with the unfortunate thing that happened to you, but all these people are now with you and get to help you recover and get to come along with you with your story. But you also did that much to give when you damn well didn't have to. Like there are plenty of people
Yeah,
that make all that money that don't have to do anything with it. But he's man, that's crazy. Imagine
that's so
I I can't imagine when he finally gets control of the situation again and gets, you know what I mean, gets all his marbles back into place and gets figured out what's going on in his life and everything. And when he looks at that GoFundMe, he's going to absolutely fucking fall off his couch. If somebody hasn't already told
for
him
real.
already, dude, he's in for a shock, and
Yeah,
it's a good one. Yeah, that's such good
yeah,
shit to hear, man. Okay, so
yeah. That's dope,
we
man.
are just about at the end of our time here. Go ahead and plug anything you got. You got anything to plug, man?
Man, no. If anybody has questions or anything with being a writer, acting, I'm always on Instagram. It's at Champmore, CHAMP_MOORE. And I got a podcast too. It's called Keeping It 1000, and it's keeping without the G. And it's yeah, it streams on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So just trying to stay creative.
Killer, man. I absolutely love to hear it. Well, if you think of anything else that you want to plug, let me know, and I'll also put it in the description, obviously, as well. I ain't worried about it. No worries. It's been fantastic having you on, man.
Yeah.
Um, we'll absolutely have to do this again sometime. It was a really fun episode, and I look forward to talking to you some more, man.
Cincy, man, I appreciate you and thank you for having me on. Who that?
Who day forever, man. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording now.